This is the Sony CyberShot DSC-H70, and this is a camera from 2011. Now, I've actually reviewed Sony cameras before, and honestly, in my opinion, Sony cameras are probably one of the best cameras out on the market. But looking back at this, which is not only old, but still has some good features to it. So today I will be going over the things you should know about the H70 and just how this camera still is operational and still able to be used for photography or even videography in 2025. So without further ado, let's get straight to what you need to know. Now it does have a CCD sensor. It's basically essentially a 16.1 megapixel camera, which in today's standards, that's still a good camera to use for photography. I mean, most selfie cameras and most front-facing cameras on phones are either 12 or even more. So this camera still has a good sensor for photography. Now this also has a 10x optical zoom, which honestly is not too bad for this type of camera. The ISO can be either 80 or a max of 3200, which honestly still good, and you can obviously just use auto when it comes to this camera. And does have around about a 3-inch LCD display, which I mean, you can still see how old it is. Now, I'll definitely say when it came to basically looking back at this camera, the startup sound is so iconic, and even just scrolling through stuff, the sound is so good. Now this camera does have a lot of features, which I think is still pretty useful and is actually kind of insane to have with this type of camera that is from 2011. Obviously, when it comes to more of the actual build, it's actually very comfortable, and honestly this is a compact camera. Compared to the Canon I've reviewed on the channel before, the DSC, this is honestly probably better than the Canon. Something I do find very funny about this camera is that you can record on this camera at 720p, which back then 720p was probably like the best. And I'll still show you some clips of the recording functions of this camera, and it's still pretty decent. This does actually have a lot of features. Now, of course, you got a little scroll wheel on the top, which will go to the final scene because this is a scene selection. So you have features like soft skin, soft snap, landscape, twilight, portrait, you got twilight, you got high sensitivity, which will be very useful for those that need more sensitivity when it comes to their photos. You even got gourmet, which is more for food. You got pet, you got beach, snow, fireworks, which I guess you can still use this for when it comes to New Year's or even 4th of July. And then you also have advanced sports shooting, which it's insane that this camera still has all these features. And that's not it, because using the top, I can go to intelligence auto, I can go to program auto, I can do manual exposure shooting, panorama, and of course, the movie mode, which I'll show right now. Okay, I'm showing this now on the camera itself, and this is on 720p fine. This is basically classed as the top of the range when it comes to this camera. Now, I'm not too sure how this looks right now, because of course I can't move the display. It is fixed to the other side of the camera. But I would say, if you are going to be doing something when it comes to simple vlogs, or you're wanting to have a certain style when it comes to music videos, for example, this can give that vintage look or just an older look that you can't always get when it comes to basically shooting on a high-end camera, and this can be a good option to go for. I mean, it still is not bad, and not just that, but I'm also kind of testing the microphone, which honestly, if it sounds pretty good, let me know in the comments below. Would you stand watching videos on this type of video quality with my quality? Now it's time to look at the photo quality, and I'll let you guys be the judge of the photos. Now, of course, if you are someone that is still wanting to get this camera for your own use, you can get it for about $250 on Amazon. And I'm still shocked that this camera is still up for purchase on some website. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I reviewing this camera from 2011? And that's because, well, when it comes to photography or videography, sometimes when it comes to basically doing those type of things, you're wanting to have a certain style when it comes to some photos or videos. Well, sometimes the best way to actually get that experience and feel is to use an older camera like this to capture those moments, because some things can't be achieved with filters and obviously just adding some effects that can make it seem like an older camera. Otherwise, I'll definitely say this camera is still pretty good to use, and the fact that it still has a lot of functionality that most cameras use nowadays, or most cameras don't even have anymore, it's just insane that Sony had this type of system and this type of camera that can do so much still, even though it's basically more than 10 years old. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below, would you get this type of camera for your own photography or videography? to have a certain type of style when it comes to your own art, or you just get this as a little collector's item because it's a good size of a camera to basically have just as a collector's item. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next video. Be safe as always and have a great day. Bye.